Welcome to Flipped Classroom. Today's lesson is recognizing logical fallacies. Let's take a look at this picture right here. 2 is equal to a number, and of course 1 is equal to a number. Therefore, 2 equals 1. Well, of course that's not true. So how did we get to that answer? It is a fallacy. A fallacy is common mistakes in thinking. These are statements that lead to wrong conclusions. For example, penguins are black and white. Some old TV shows are black and white. Therefore, some penguins are old TV shows. Well, of course that's not true. Penguins are not old TV shows. All cats have 4 legs. I have 4 legs. Therefore, I'm a cat. No, that's a dog. So as you can see, there's an illogical thought process going on, and that makes it a fallacy. There are many types of fallacies, so we're going to take a look at a few. The first is non sequitur, meaning it doesn't follow. Your claim doesn't follow the premise or the statement. So let's look at the first one. People generally like to walk on the beach. That's claim A. Here's the evidence for claim A. Beaches have sand. Okay, so therefore, having sand floors in homes would be a great idea. Well, just because claim A is made and the evidence is true doesn't make C true. Just because people like walking in sand as opposed to hot cement when they're on a beach, that doesn't mean people really want to have sand in their homes. Here's another example. Buddy Burger has the greatest food in town. That's the claim. Here's my evidence. Buddy Burger was voted number 1 by the local newspaper. Therefore, Phil, the owner of Buddy Burger, should run for governor of California. It doesn't follow. Just because you're great at making hamburgers doesn't mean you're going to be a great governor. Another type of fallacy is called post hoc, and this tends to show up in cause-effect relationships. Let's take a look at this. The rooster crowed, the sun came up, therefore the rooster made the sun come up. Well, we know that's not true. The rooster didn't make the sun come up. I took a pill, I got better. Therefore, the pill made me better. Well, that might be true if you had a fever and you took a Tylenol. It could reduce your fever. So in that case, the pill made you better. But maybe if it's a placebo, a fake pill, I took a pill, I got better, doesn't actually mean the pill made you better. Oversimplification is offering very easy solutions for complicated problems. Let's take a look at a few examples. If you want to end substance abuse, send every drug user to prison for life. Well, that's not a practical solution. Try another. School violence has gone up and academic performance has gone down. Ever since organized prayer was banned at public schools. Therefore, prayer should be reintroduced, resulting in school improvement. Well, there are some factual statements in there about school violence increasing and academic performance decreasing. But introducing prayer is a very simple solution for a very complex problem. Either or reasoning. This is oversimplifying by assuming that an issue has only 2 sides. Let's look at a funny one. Either you love bacon or you're wrong. Another one. If you're not outraged, you're not paying taxes. One of the most common ones you'll hear is, if you are against the war, then you hate the military. Well, it is possible for someone to be opposed to, for example, the Vietnam War, but a very strong supporter of soldiers and sailors and Marines and Coast Guards and other military personnel. Not all issues are as clear as 2 sides. Ad hominem is when you're attacking an individual's opinion by attacking his or her character. So let's look at this example about gun control. Instead of addressing the issue of gun control, in this example, they attack the people who are in favor of gun control. These men support your rights to bear arms. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, and Hamilton. And these men oppose it. Hitler, Castro, Stalin, Idi Amin, Lenin, and Obama. They're trying to associate President Obama with dictators instead of discussing the issue of gun control. Generalizations or allness. This is when you are stating or implying that something isn't true for an entire group. For example, students enjoy studying. When you make that statement, you are assuming all students enjoy studying all subjects all the time. Well, of course, we know that's not true. To avoid generalization fallacies, add qualifiers. Words like some, few, many, most, or the majority. Many students enjoy studying some of the time. Another fallacy is proof by too few examples. And that's when you're presenting an example as proof rather than illustration or clarification. If you look down here, they're paper clips. You can't make something beautiful out of paper clips. Well, of course, you see in the picture that the paper clips made a Statue of Liberty. Americans are great chefs. My neighbor's an American, so he must be a wonderful cook. Well, I can tell you that's a fallacy because I'm an American and I am definitely not a good cook. Movie stars are rude. I asked Kevin Costner for his autograph the other evening. He told me to leave him alone. Okay? Giving one example, Kevin Costner, is not enough to prove the statement that all movie stars are rude. Begging the question is when you're proving a statement already taken for granted, often by repeating it in different words or defining the words in terms itself. Let's take a look at this one. Rapists are dangerous because they are menaces. Well, dangerous and menace are synonyms. So you're begging the question. You're going in circles with the definition. Women can't be priests in the Catholic Church because only men are priests in the Catholic Church. Well, you're going around. You're not clarifying why women can't be priests. This is the one they always use in TV show courtroom dramas. Have you stopped beating your wife? If you answer yes, you're implying you did beat your wife. If you say no, you're implying you still beat your wife. So you're tricked, you're trapped. That's called begging the question. Argument by analogy is treating an extended comparison between familiar and unfamiliar terms. So you're basing on similarities, but you're really ignoring the differences. Here's an example. People were born free as birds. Okay, so you're making a comparison between people and birds. It's cruel to expect people to work. So you're highlighting the similarities that people and birds are free, but you're ignoring the different needs that people versus birds have for survival. The bandwagon approach. Often this is a form of peer pressure, suggesting that you're going to miss out on the same opportunities that everyone else is enjoying if you don't join in. Here's an example. If you don't buy a gun, you won't be as safe as everyone else on the block. Okay, see the fear tactic that encouraging you the reason to buy a gun is so you are like everybody else. The red herring. If you're familiar with an actual red herring, it's a fish, and it's a really smelly fish. So if there was a red herring in the room right now, it would smell so bad you'd be distracted from this video. So a red herring fallacy is a claim intended to mislead through distraction. Here's an example. Ned is accused by his wife of cheating at cards. So Ned replies, "Nothing I do ever pleases you. I spent all last week repainting the bathroom, and then you said you didn't like the color." Well, that's misleading. The wife is talking about cheating at cards, and he is talking about the bathroom and chores done at home. That's a distraction instead of addressing the real issue. Appeal to authority is using a non-expert who claims to be an authority. For example, if you're claiming laws against marijuana are plain silly, and your evidence is Thomas Jefferson is known to have raised hemp on his own plantation. You're making it sound like because Thomas Jefferson did it, that's the reason marijuana should be legalized. Whereas Thomas Jefferson was an expert on government and many other areas, but not on marijuana or hemp. Donald Trump steaks. If you're buying a steak because Donald Trump tells you to, it's probably not the best reason. You'd want a chef or a butcher to be an authority. Donald Trump could be an authority on real estate or possibly running for president, but not steaks. A slippery slope is when one event leads to a second event, which leads to a third event, and has a negative result. Think of it as skiing, going down a slope where you can't stop. Here's an example. If we don't go to war in Vietnam, communism will spread throughout Southeast Asia and eventually to the shores of California. Well, that's a slippery slope. Just because communism spread through Vietnam and Southeast Asia, that's a big leap to say it's going to come all the way to California. So there's a jump in logic there. You should avoid fallacies because they weaken your argument. They also violate the trust between the author and the audience. Often fallacies are unfair and sometimes they're even unethical. So in review, there's various types of fallacies, and you should be aware of them when you are reading others' arguments so you don't fall trapped to them, and you as well should not use them in your writing. Thank you for joining me today in Flipped Classroom.